lot, turn me up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Merry Bunch podcast. It's your girl, Keonda,
William,
Crystal,
Chris,
Brianna,
Nico,
and we are the bunch. So today's episode is entitled Young Love Interrupted. Is there a right age to get married? The bunch talks with our special guest, Brianna, as she discussed getting married at age 19, having children, experiencing infidelity, open marriage, and which ultimately led to divorce at 24. All right, so like I said, we have our special guest, Brianna.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Whoop, whoop. All right, so thank you for joining us. So, yeah. Tell us a little bit or let's get into it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Brianna. I'm 26, and that's about it.
That's all you got.
To say.
Yeah. So we can talk about how we know her. So I know her. She is my godson's mother. That's how I know you. She's like a sister. This is family.
Add that part.
Okay. So everybody else, what's your experience? How do you know her?
From family.
Yep.
mm-hmm. Family.
Through mutual friends.
Yes. The same. Y'all said it.
You ain't gonna say I'm like a sister to you too?
Yeah, you like a sister.
Oh, okay.
I know you through my wife.
Okay. All right.
All right. So Brianna, what age did you get married?
I got married at 19.
Okay, so you got married when you were 19. Can you describe the relationship in the beginning?
Yes. So we met each other in high school. I was 15. We had a class together, so we had a high school relationship for a while. And then I got pregnant at 17. So I got pregnant at 17. We still had our relationship there. We kind of had a long distance relationship there. And then when I got 18 and I moved back to be around him, still a relationship. And then 19, we got married.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you feel like, you said you had moved away.
Yes.
Do you feel like you guys had a sound foundation in the beginning of the relationship?
No, I don't, because we were like kids. So we was just having fun doing whatever. Mm-hmm. As teenagers, so it wasn't any sound foundation.
Okay. So at that time, what did a wife look like to you? At
that time, a wife looked like what my mom was, like just somebody that was always there and was supportive. I can't say like wife looked like cooking and cleaning and stuff, because when my dad was there, he did a lot of that too. So a wife was just more drilled into me, like you need to be supportive, you need to be present, like you need to be loyal, you need to like hold him down. So that was what a wife looked like to me.
Okay, so you did grow up with examples of marriage.
Yes, my parents were married for all of my childhood. They didn't get a divorce until I was grown.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Were your parents in agreement with you getting married?
No. When you get married, there's like a process you have to go through. And me being 19, I was still kind of living at home, so I was a child. So it was something that I needed from my mom for me to get married. I don't remember. So I kind of had to ask for it, and they knew he had proposed. So my mom was like, "What you doing?" And I was like, "Nothing, I just need it. I'm about to go to the bank." And then my dad got on the phone. My dad was like, "What you doing?" I was like, "Nothing, I just need it. I'm about to go to the bank." And my dad, I don't remember if he cried or not, but he was like, "Baby, please don't do it." He was like, "Please don't do it." He was like, "You can wait, but just please don't do it." My mom was like, "Don't do it. Don't do it." But they had a very good reason for saying that, because of other things that happened in the beginning of us being in a relationship as kids. So, yeah.
Okay, so with your parents saying don't do it, mm-hmm. what caused you to still do that? What made you get married? What was
So the primary reason us getting married, it wasn't like a romantic thing where like everything was planned out. So it was more, he was going into the military. He was going to be stationed other places. Me and my oldest son, we were wanting to be around him, wanting to live together. So we more got married because he was going into the military. And I'm a military child. So that's kind of what people do. Like before you go into the military, you get married, or even when you're in the military, you're probably going to marry fast just because of certain like constructs and how things are. So that was mostly why we got married. Like he's going into the military. When he gets out of basic training and stuff, we was all going to move to wherever he was stationed.
Okay, Bree, so would you be okay if your kids married early?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because I feel like marriage is for mature people. So it's like kids shouldn't be getting married because you don't even really know what marriage is. So I absolutely would not be okay with it. I do know some people who did, and it is successful. But no, I don't think that you should get married super, super young.
Chris, do you think you would be okay with Jeremiah getting married at 19?
No. Yeah, I gotta agree. Definitely gotta mature more before you step into that situation.
Yeah.
So with y'all getting married, was it more that he wanted it or more that you wanted it?
It was more mutual. Like, let's go ahead and just do this. That's what I think. I don't really all the way remember. So much stuff has happened, so I don't remember all the way. But it was definitely like mutual and planned out. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it wasn't like you felt like did you? Well, let me ask. Did you feel forced to get married because of the military and everything else?
No.
And you already had a child.
Right.
No, not at all. I wouldn't say I feel forced, but it was more we wanted to get married because we wanted to be together and live together. So it was more us being, when he gets stationed, us being going as a family instead of him going by himself. So I never felt like forced or anything like that.
It just felt like the right thing
to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we already had a baby, so it's like, why not?
So in a previous episode, we talked about like premarital counseling. Did you guys have premarital counseling?
No.
No. Did you guys have a wedding?
No.
Okay. So do you feel like love is enough to get married?
No. Not at all.
Okay, explain.
Like I said, I feel like marriage is for mature people. So love can kind of be like an emotion sometimes. You shouldn't base a life decision off of an emotion. Like you have to think strategically with things, not making it too much of a business, but just because I love you, it doesn't mean that you would be a supportive person to me, or it doesn't mean that you would respect me and treat me right. So no, I can't just get married because I love you or you love me. Like, no, that's not how you set a sound foundation. It's other things to it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the bunch. Do y'all feel like love is enough to get married? Crystal.
I knew you was gonna call me.
Yes.
No, I don't think it's enough to get married, and I don't think it's enough to stay married.
Explain.
Same thing, just like she said. I mean, sometimes love isn't enough. Like Tina Turner said, "What's love got to do with it?"
And love can't pay those bills.
That's true.
Got that one.
Nico, what you think?
No, love is not enough.
You want to
No,
explain?
you can love somebody all day, and all night, but if they ain't doing what they're supposed to do, they don't matter. So
That's true.
hey,
That's true.
You got to keep it moving.
And sometimes things can get really complicated and toxic, and sometimes there's no turning back, I feel like.
Right.
And people just need to walk away sometimes. So,
Run away.
really.
Brianna?
No, love is not enough because, I mean, like I said earlier, love doesn't pay bills. And you got to show me more, is an action. So I need to see that you're loyal to me. I need to see, that you provide for me. You can support me. So, you can love me all day, but if you can't do those things, is it really love?
Right.
So.
Right.
No, that's good right there.
And I was even, just thinking, love isn't enough because I can love somebody. And have y'all ever heard the saying, I'm not cursing, but I'm going to love the hell out of you. Sometimes we can't love the hell out of people. We still have they still have all their issues. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much love you show them. They have to be able to love themselves.
Yeah.
So it's not something that we can do. Sometimes there's people out here, they're mentally broken. And it doesn't matter how much you love them. You can't change them. That's something that they have to do.
Right.
Chris, what you think? Is love enough?
Y'all already said everything. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everyone. Y'all pretty much touch every aspect of that.
All right, so Brianna, can I ask you the next question? Do women fall in love with potential? What do y'all think? What do you think, Brianna?
Yes, I think women fall in love with potential a lot. I was gonna say I fell in love with potential, but not really because we were still young, so I wasn't even thinking about what to and what not to fall in love with. So, but no, because I've been. Well, we'll get into that later, but I've done it before, so yeah.
Okay.
So when you were younger, did you only date him, or was it, that was it, just him?
No, I dated somebody before him.
Oh, okay.
Two people. I think I dated two people before him, but he was like the most. He was the second like serious one.
So what do the rest of you guys think? Do people fall in love with potential? Babe, what you think?
Yeah, they definitely do. And then when that potential fall flat that you thought they had, look like Boo Boo the Fool. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think we see somebody and we see that they are like an ambitious person. You know what I'm saying? Or they have drive, but are they using it? You know what I'm saying? I feel like, and I think that's something that happens as we are young, like when we're younger. We fall for the potential, and if we would take our time, I think if we just wait a little bit, we can actually see what they got going on, which leads me to my next question. Are red flags always there?
I say absolutely.
Okay. Explain.
I just, in every relationship that I've ever been in, or people that are close to me, like I've just always heard people say they always seen the red flags. So red flags are always there. You might be trying to make it seem like you might try to say, well, that's not really a red flag. That's more of a yellow flag. No, they be red flags. Like, I knew the red flags.
Right.
Yeah.
So what made you stay?
What made me stay in the marriage was ultimately I wanted my family and I loved him. Right. So I didn't want to leave. So that's ultimately why I used to say it was for the kids, but no, it's because I just didn't want to leave.
So did you see the red flags before getting married, or was this something like, was it a process?
No, I seen all them flags before I got married. So I didn't go into it blind at all. I'm going to keep it real. I did. So when a lot of things happened, I wasn't super like devastated because I already knew who he was. Good with everything, with the good things and all the other things. So I didn't go into it blind.
Those things you thought you could fix?
I thought that marriage would definitely fix it. I thought that because we were now married, it would stop, because when you're married, and me being young, I'm thinking when you're married, you're not supposed to do X, Y, and Z. And then also, I do remember when he was going into the military, we were talking to the recruiter, and I specifically asked the recruiter, I was like, well, if he cheats, he gets in trouble, right? And he was like, yeah, in the military, if they cheat, they get in trouble. But that was something that I made sure to ask before we got married.
That's a specific question.
Because I thought it would, like, I really did think that would stop it.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Buki, let me ask you, are red flags always there?
I wouldn't say always. But I would say, like, if you pay attention hard enough, then you will see what you need to see. But some people are good at hiding and covering up red flags. Definitely in the beginning. That way you can't see them. But I wouldn't say they always there. No.
What you think, Chris?
I think red flags are always there. I think sometimes there are people who don't notice them, and then when something happens, they think back like, oh, okay, that was a red flag. Because sometimes you can be
blinded.
Yeah. You could just be caught up in the moment like, oh, that's my boo, I love him, blah 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 blah, and not really pay attention. But I think it's always there, whether you notice it or not.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always there.
Yeah.
People
So-
want to see the good in people.
So let me ask, okay, so we saying red flags are always there. What's an example of a red flag that is overlooked in the beginning then?
Lying. I think a red flag is lying, and I feel like that's one of the first red flags that show up that we overlook because we're like, oh, that's not really a big deal. They just lied about this or they just lied about that, but that's a red flag that shows up.
Yeah, I think not even like friendship relationships, you kind of have red
Right.
flags in friendship relationships that you kind of overlooked. And that lying one, you try to see the best in them. You're like, oh no, they wouldn't do that. Or, that's not, they just lie a little bit. But that, they kind of stretch the truth, but it's still a red flag.
What about you, Chris? What you think about red flags? Are
Yeah.
they always there?
Yeah, I think red flags are always there. I just think it take time for it to be exposed. So if a person has a lying problem, I mean, you're going to have to catch them in a couple lies before it's repetitive. You know what I'm saying? So, and like Bree said, even in friendships, we let red flags slide. And, they tend to, if we leave it unaddressed, it's going to create bigger problems.
Yep. Definitely.
All right.
So infidelity. Does it do anything to your ego, confidence, or self-esteem?
I feel like it does.
Okay, explain.
I feel like it does because when you start to realize that you can get more than what you have, you start to feel yourself, you start to smell yourself a little bit. So you kind of just be like, I don't really care about what I have because I know I can get all of this.
So when I asked that question, I'm kind of asking like, when he started cheating, did it make you feel less confident? Did it mess with your ego? Did it cause you to like ask yourself, because like, what's wrong with me? Did you ever question yourself during that time finding out about him and other women?
No, because it was always a thing, and I've always kind of had a certain confidence about myself. So I just was like, I know it ain't me.
Okay.
I be doing what I'm doing. So that's
Okay.
I didn't really feel like it ruined my confidence or it made me sad because I was like, why can't he do right? But it didn't make me feel like anything about myself. It just made me sad for the marriage and the relationship.
Well, that's a very mature aspect, because I've been cheated on, and we can go around, but I've been cheated on, and at the time when it first happened to me in my first serious relationship, it did kind of affect my self-esteem, and it did affect my ego. So if I was up at a 10 at one point after the infidelity, it knocked me down. I would even say like a 5. And it affected the way that I cared about myself at the time.
Okay.
Because I did question myself, like, well, what's wrong with me? Because at the time, I had kids with this person, and to know like, okay, here we are, we're doing our family thing, and what's wrong with me? And having kids, because I know you said you had kids at the time too, that also does something. Like, nobody gonna want me with kids, and you know what I'm saying? And then he out here cheating, he don't even want me with kids, so it did do something to my self-esteem.
I've always been that girl. With a baby.
Crystal, I know at one point you had talked about being cheated on. Do you feel like it affected your self-esteem? Chris about to hurt somebody's feelings. Probably.
No, I'm not gonna hurt nobody's feelings. I'm sure it did. At the time, I really don't remember, but I'm sure it did. I just remember being angry. I can say that. I was very angry. Like, and you did what? Oh, okay.
Were you Diary of a Black Woman angry, or like describe the anger?
Diary of a Man.
I definitely see it with Crystal.
I'm not gonna lie, because back then I was bink bink upside the head. So yeah, I remember being angry, but I'm sure, it brought me down a couple notches. I just don't really remember it. I just remember being angry.
What about you, Nico? Being cheated on, does it affect your
I
self-esteem,
didn't
your
know
ego?
been cheated on.
If I have, okay. Well, you can't talk
Hypothetically in the
from
past.
yeah, in the past.
Well, if that was to happen, no, I'm not gonna feel no type of way.
So you don't think if
It's not knocking me down.
you don't?
Why?
Okay.
I mean, not the sound.
If that's your answer,
I mean, yeah, that's my answer. I'm sticking to it.
I'm gonna stick beside.
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna stick.
You that guy like she that girl.
That's right.
I'm that beep.
Brianna.
If it were to happen to me, I would definitely like you. I think it would mess with my ego, and my self confidence. But after I got myself together, that girl.
Definitely. Chris.
Yeah, I seen you look straight over there. But nah, it didn't knock me down. It made me question my intelligence a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But outside of me being knocked down to where I can't do what I'm supposed to do or maneuver, no. So.
Okay.
Well, what you mean by intelligence? Like you didn't figure it out or something?
Yeah, like not only just figuring out, but just questioning, my intelligence as far as picking that person. So that's what I mean. So you giggling a lot over there.
Baby, all I can do is giggle.
No shade though.
But
All right. Buki.
Yeah, a little bit. I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah, a little bit, but it didn't take long for me to get back up. Yeah, I would say yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Can I say why it didn't? Because it's a specific reason why it didn't.
Okay.
Because my mom was always like, if a dude do this, it's not you. If a dude do that, it's not you. So don't ever let no man make you feel less than. My mom just always drilled that. So she definitely, I learned at a young age. Mm-hmm. I learned at a young age that it don't have to be me for somebody to do something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I learned that later. Like, yeah, now I know who I am, but I didn't know that back then. I was young. All right. So did you discuss why he cheated with him? Did y'all have that conversation?
Yes, we did have that conversation, and one thing that he told me one day, and it was really, really honest, and I appreciated the honesty. He was like, it was for entertainment, and he liked the attention. So, yeah.
Okay, let's sit there. What y'all think about that answer? Entertainment.
If you need that much entertainment, you don't need to be in a marriage.
Guys, entertainment.
So that's what he said? Mm-hmm. I mean...
I feel bad for saying that.
So, I mean, what was the reason? I mean, the only reason why I would say you need entertainment is if you feel like you're not getting attention, or that's the only reason why I would think you need that level of extra entertainment. So, bro, what you think?
But I was listening to a dude on, I don't know if it was a podcast or something, but he was like, a woman can be at home doing like everything she's supposed to do, like covering 99% of what needs to be done. A man still gonna try to go out and find that 1%. You know what I'm saying? Not every man, but some men still gonna go and try to search that 1%. And I mean, I don't know why, but it was something that he was in need of, I guess.
And I've heard that before, because my ex told me that one time. He didn't necessarily say for entertainment. He was just like, oh, I just wanted to see if I still had it. That's what he said. And I had to make sure my hands still had it.
That's crazy.
Talk about it.
Baby. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that is a reason, because, I mean, I heard it before, so.
And I ain't gonna call my family member out on blast, but if they listening, they know who I'm talking about. But this particular person says that a man is gonna cheat. That's just a man being a man. How y'all feel about that statement? That's just a man being a man. They
That's
gonna
an
cheat.
excuse.
Yeah, that's.
Don't blame all men because you want to cheat.
No,
But a woman said that.
Oh, a woman said that. Oh,
No.
I don't think that's true.
I don't think
at all.
that's true.
And I don't think that's true because of my own experiences when I've cheated and the reason why. Like, I think it's just a lack of self-control. And when you say that, you give them the opportunity to not hold themselves accountable and for them to not control themselves. So cheating is a lack of self-control.
You're basically giving them the escape route, or
Exactly.
giving them the green light to do it. Like, oh, you a man, I know you gonna cheat. Nah.
Hold everyone to that standard.
That's what you want out of life?
Yeah, I think if I had that mindset, I would be single.
Yeah.
If every man was a cheater, I would be single.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put myself through that.
So which one is worse in cheating, emotional or physical?
Both for me. Both is. I think I will feel bad with either one. I'm gonna feel some type of way with either one. But the physical, of course, that just gonna hit a little bit different. But both are bad to me. I'm gonna feel some type of way either way.
Yeah, I would say both too.
I would say both.
I would say both, but when you start to think about emotional cheating, like they have like love for that person, they love that person, and they doing it with that person, like that's couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So which one is worse to you? Emotional?
I
Or
would
physical?
say emotional. Because I mean, you can do it to anybody, but if you have that connection, if you have that emotional connection, I feel like that's like a little deeper.
Crystal?
Somebody must think I'm wrong.
I mean, whatever floats your boat, but
It's
both,
floating.
whatever. For me, I would say both, but physical is worse to me because at that point you're playing with my health.
I definitely understand that. That's true.
I mean, because my thing is my feelings can be hurt. You know, you love that person and stuff. I get it. I will be okay. But if you out here doing something, you catch something and you bring it home to me, like I don't know. It's just physical with me. You play with my health. That's it. That's too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna say both, but the emotional part, I think it's just rooted deeper emotionally, and that's gonna cause like stress, depression, and then we're gonna get back to the physical because it's gonna cause health
Right.
problems.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the emotional is like more rooted to me.
Can break it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Emotional?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. All right. So, did you learn anything about yourself during this time, Brianna?
No, not really.
So, in your open marriage time, it wasn't a moment where you were like, maybe not. Maybe we can chill out, stop.
Or maybe we should end this, right?
Oh yeah, so we were married for 5 years and the open marriage started in year 2. So it was never a continuous thing. There was times where it was on and off. Like if we was really, really good, I wasn't doing anything. He said that he wasn't doing anything. So it wasn't like a continuous thing. It really only was when things were super bad. So it wasn't like, if you know me and this person, you know the dynamics of how we are. So when it's good, but when it's bad, it's bad. So it kind of was like that.
So basically, y'all just gave each other hall passes. I can't stand you right now, huh? Here go a hall pass.
It
Go and get
wasn't-
your rocks off.
It wasn't even like a telling each other. It was just like I know for me, whenever I had something on the side, it was when we was like bad. Like if we was good, like everything on the side got cut off, and you know the rules. Don't call me.
Okay.
So
So when you say that, it wasn't emotional. It was just more physical with these people.
most of the time, but the type of person that I am, sometimes it get a little emotional. Mm-hmm. So I can't. Sometimes it wasn't just physical. Sometimes it was emotional too.
Okay.
Well, that's my question for women. Can you just have a physical with someone, or does it always turn emotional?
I feel like in my past life, I definitely could. I just was one of the ones that could.
I'll say for me, no, I couldn't have physical without emotional coming along. That's just me. I couldn't do it, which is why because I get,
You know. I know what she's talking about.
What about you, Buki?
What?
Can you have a physical relationship with somebody without emotions coming into play?
No, I don't think so. You looking at me like I'm lying?
I'm just looking at you.
Nah, you looking at me like I'm lying?
I know, I'm just looking at you.
No, I don't think so.
They're looking at each other.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
I mean, it was like when I was a teenager early on, I probably, I ain't have to really have emotional attachment, but I am a deep person though. So it can't just be, nothing. So it's gotta be something there.
We already know Crystal is. So go ahead, tell us.
Baby, I don't lay down if it ain't no emotion. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just can't. More power to the women that can though. 'Cause, woo. But yeah, I can't.
Did everybody answer that one?
Nico, Bree.
It's just emotion.
Yeah.
Do you think you could be physical with someone?
No.
And
I'm just not that type of person.
So you gonna
on
fall
the
in
health factor
love.
with Crystal? That's nasty. I can't just be.
Well,
messing with
dang.
everything. Oh, no offense. I'm sorry. I'm just a person where I got to
I
have that
understand.
emotional connection. Like I can't just sleep around.
What about when y'all was super young? Because at this time, I think I was 20.
No,
So
not for me.
So what we're saying is you won't be physical with somebody without emotion. Is that what y'all saying right now? Only way I'm gonna have sex with you is if I have some type of emotion with you.
For
Right.
Me, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so what I was asking was, can you be physical with somebody without emotions coming into play? So the reverse of what y'all thinking.
yeah, because you mean
So
if
like
you
a
like
one-night
somebody.
stand? This
I
what
mean,
you're
so
saying?
Yeah, like
they
a
ain't
one
gonna
night
rock with
stand.
that.
Can you just have a
Oh,
one
no.
night stand?
Not for me, no.
Oh no. Then I gotta change my answer. No, like I gotta like you as a person.
No. Like, can you have a
Explain
physical?
that.
Can you be
Nah.
physical with somebody without emotions coming into play? So you ain't never just had somebody that this is just my
My little whoop de whoop.
You
I
get-
like
exactly.
him, but you ain't my dude.
exactly. So
Okay.
can you be physical with somebody and never want a relationship with this person? Never.
But yeah, you can have emotional
Yeah.
attachment with a whoop de whoop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta
Take
like that
all-
person to do it.
But what I'm saying is,
What you saying?
you
Say it
saying? What you
again.
saying?
I'm trying to so can I have the physical? Can I just be physical?
If Johnny had 5 apples,
That's what I feel like.
I mean,
Just physical. Because there's people out here that just do it.
That's
And
what
then we never talk again. Or if you call his phone, he don't hit you up again. Can you just be physical with no emotion ever coming about? Crystal taking that sip of Pepsi.
That's a difficult question.
No, that's a question that you have to be real about. Can you be just physical with somebody?
I gotta take my answer back because if it was that and you didn't, and I called you the next day and you like blocked me, my feelings is hurt and it's a problem because you ain't finna use me. That's not.
So
We
even
liked
if you
each
just-
other. We was cool. We was friends. Look.
Okay.
So, like, no, it's not like a one night stand. Like, no, because if I don't know you, and I gotta know you too. Like, we've had to have a few conversations.
Okay. All right. So, do you think you've changed your values in a relationship to be like to monogamy?
Absolutely. I've always if this is gonna sound real but weird, but I've always believed in monogamy. Like that's always what I've wanted, long term. And then now I'm saved, so I completely believe in monogamy now. But yeah, we're gonna have to slide that in there. But no, I completely believe in monogamy now. I don't think any other construct works. I know I might get canceled, but it is what it is.
Okay.
For marriage, I'm gonna say that for marriage.
Yeah, I said it's nasty. Okay, so what advice would you give to a couple that's thinking about having an open marriage or going into, an open marriage?
I would say don't, because at that point it's not really a marriage anymore. Because what I know now, being grown, cheating is cheating. Mm-hmm. So even given the open door to make it okay, it's still cheating and it's still wrong. So no, I would not give any advice. I would say don't do it. Okay.
So do you feel like that contributed to or led to your divorce?
Yes and no, because I say yes because it definitely put a strain on the relationship. Because when I started to do things, I started to see him distance himself and him kind of be like, I'm just gonna put it out there. As soon as I started doing stuff, I was a whole bunch of H words. As soon as I started doing stuff back, so it just was. The respect just diminished all the way from there, because I was, doing things back now, and he wasn't feeling that a lot of the time. Some of the times he didn't care, but a lot of the times he did. So it did contribute, because the respect level, it wasn't there in the beginning, and it was at like a negative 50 with the open marriage stuff. Dang. So that. I'm just keeping it real. I don't feel like that now. Like, I feel like his respect level is, instead of negative 50, now it's a 0.
So I have a question. So based off of you guys' marriage, do you feel like the only negative thing about your marriage was the cheating? So if he wasn't cheating, do you think the marriage would have been successful?
Absolutely not. Like,
okay.
No. The cheating was honestly... And people ask me this, the cheating was it was a big part, but it wasn't like people would think, oh, they ended up getting a divorce because of the cheating. Like, no, we got a divorce because we just had it was always a bad relationship. And he was just mean. Like, He was really mean to me. I'm not saying that I wasn't mean to him, but he was really, one of the reasons that we got a divorce is because the level of how mean he was being to me, I could not take it. Like, I had to run. So I don't even, at that time, before we got divorced, we didn't even have an open marriage.
Okay. Okay, so let me ask you this question. If we were to ask him, what was his reasons for getting a divorce? Or what he felt like you weren't doing, what do you think he would say?
She didn't cook. She didn't clean. She didn't do blah blah blah. So, and that's what I hear now. And we ultimately didn't get along, and we didn't like each other.
Okay, but was it true? Did you cook, clean?
Sure didn't.
Okay, hey, accountability.
Give
me some. Okay,
Crystal, you reading my mind? Okay. Yeah, because we were saying a lot of stuff that he did, but what did you contribute? And how did you contribute?
I want to get into that, because the divorce, I definitely think that it wasn't all of him. I 100% would take my 50% all the way, and it took me a long time to get to take my 50%. But no, like, I wasn't cooking, I wasn't cleaning. Like, he was being the sole provider, so I wasn't even supporting him, and him being a young man and providing for a whole family at his young age. I wasn't like, it was just like, you supposed to be doing this or you supposed to be doing that. Like, it was never me comforting him or me encouraging him, like, you're doing a good job, or you're providing for your family, you're doing this and that. It was never that. So I can say for me, like, I was not a good wife at all.
You felt entitled. Where do you feel that came from? Like, if he's doing all this, you wasn't encouraging him.
I wouldn't necessarily. I don't know if I would call it entitled, but I just feel like maybe it is entitled. Like, as a man, like, I just feel like that's what you're supposed to do. And I didn't even think about, well, he could say as a woman, you're supposed to cook and clean. Like, I wasn't thinking about that, but I definitely did not look at his struggles and what he was going through and have any empathy, sympathy for him, or even when things were bad, I always pointed the finger at him. Like, I never took accountability to say, well, I might have done this or I might have done that. I just blamed everything on him. And that's draining to somebody to always be the one that's wrong. Like, that doesn't feel good. So, yeah.
Well, I commend you for being able to reflect and acknowledge your position in it now, because some people still can't do that, and they're way older than you. So I do commend you on that. So do you think going in, I know it's kind of dipping in, but we can dip and go back and forth. If you were to get married again, would you change your mindset of how a wife looks in your position as a wife?
Yes, my mindset of how a wife looks in the position of a wife is changed now a lot. One, because I'm saved, so all of my references come from that. But definitely because I feel like one thing that you need in a marriage is accountability. So I definitely would take a lot more accountability, and I would listen a lot more, because I feel like sometimes as women, we could do a lot of talking and a little bit of listening. And I'm not going to say all, but I would listen to what my future spouse said and things like that.
You had something to add to that, Nico?
I said mostly.
Mostly what?
There's a lot of talking, but not a lot of listening.
Okay.
Would you cook and clean, though? You missed that question.
If I can keep it real, I don't know, because I don't like to do that. So,
But that's a serious question.
No, I would.
That's a conversation you have with your spouse.
No, I would, but it wouldn't be because for one, I have a career and I go to school and I make a very good amount of money. So it would be, I can't do it all. Like, I'm not gonna go into it like I'm gonna do all of this and cook and clean while you just bring in somebody. No, it would have to be like a partnership and not everything on me. So I would cook and clean. Like, if you my man for real, I'm gonna throw a little chicken in the oven for you.
She lied.
But like you said, that's a conversation that you have with someone that you're about to get married to. If
Deal
that's
breakers.
not your thing, talk to them. If they want to cook, if not, if y'all got the money, get a maid, get a chef. Do what you need to do. But
Don't
that's
be
just a
putting out here
conversation.
you Betty Crocker and.
Exactly.
No,
Don't
do that.
Right.
Exactly. Don't
do
come
that.
in.
Right. Now, I know how to
meals.
cook, but I just don't like doing it on a regular basis. Like 5 days out the week, I give you about 2, 3, and that's pushing it.
That sounds like one.
Because the 2 or 3 was pushing it. So maybe Sunday dinner. I could cook a Sunday dinner every week.
All right, that's one.
We can get leftovers.
Crystal, what you think about that?
Think about what?
Cooking.
Cooking. I mean, hey, if you can cook every day for your family, that's fine. But baby, it ain't me. I'm just keeping it real. I'm just keeping it real. I might not cook every day, but I'll stop by and get something on the way home. One thing, regardless, we gonna eat.
It's just not gonna be homemade.
Not all the time.
Not all the time. I got you.
All right, so let's go into the next question. Were you done with the relationship after divorce?
No.
I couldn't hear you. The people in the back.
No. I was not, and that was very shocking to me, because when I got a divorce, I would say like, oh no, I would never go back to him. Like, I'm not going to ever do anything to him. And then somebody had told me, well, never say never. I feel like you are, and I feel like that person spoken into existence.
Who did that? Anyways, continue.
So no, the same way that, and I definitely wanted to speak about this. The same way that I jumped into marriage so quick and naive is the same way that I jumped out into divorce. Like, I didn't look it up much. I didn't think I didn't think about how much it would affect me. It would affect my children. It would affect him. I kind of just did it. So the ultimatum was, we were already separated for a year. So if you want us to be married, we have to go to marriage counseling. He did not want to go to marriage counseling. I gave him a 3-month window for him to, figure out what he wanted to do, for us to make a decision. I was very clear that I wanted to go to marriage counseling. I was very clear that I didn't really want to get a divorce. At this time, it was not an open marriage. All of that was shut. At this time, I really did want to work it out, because I had been separated and I seen how it felt to be with without living as a family, and I didn't really like it. So I definitely said, like, you got until this month for us to go to counseling. That month came, he didn't do it. I said, okay, I'm going to give you 2 extra months so we can kind of see, like, if it's money, I'll look up insurance on my job. I tried to do everything to the counseling, and then one day he was like, I don't want counseling. I'm not going to counseling. If you don't want to be married to me, that's fine. 3 weeks later, I filed for divorce.
So if somebody tell you that the first time, why would you get them an extension?
Because with him, he is the type of person who you have to catch him on a certain mood. So he'll say something just because he mad. So I had to keep that in mind. Like, maybe he mad, or maybe I'm irritating him, or maybe I'm nagging him. So let me say this, and maybe he'll take it serious. Because that's a personal thing that I know about him. He's just the type of person that however he's feeling at the moment, he gonna say. His logic is going to be based off of that feeling.
Right.
And I knew divorce is like a permanent thing. So it was like, no, I'm not going to go file now. And I know he might be saying that because he's angry.
Right.
So, yeah.
So do you feel like if he said no, that you still could have went to counseling without him and before going to file the divorce?
I didn't at the time, like, I didn't really think about that, because it was more.
It's because you thought you were that girl.
Right.
No. At this
You
time,
said it before.
no, at this time, we had been separated, and we had conversations. So at this time, I started to see that it wasn't just all of him, because you're not in the same space. When we did come together after not speaking for maybe months, we were able to have real conversations. And he said, "This is how I felt. This is how you made me feel." So that ultimately, because I did love and care about that person, I started to see kind of things that I did wrong. So that's another reason why I really, really wanted to go to counseling. Not because I felt like he really needed it. I felt like our marriage really needed it. Like, it was things that we were both doing wrong. So I didn't think about individual counseling, because I really just didn't think about individual counseling. I was thinking we just needed marriage counseling. So, yeah.
And what an individual going to do?
Well, because she was the one who filed for divorce. So if she's saying, I feel like maybe she was putting a lot on him. You do this, you do that, you do that. I'll give you an extension.
I found counselors, and I sent links, and I said, let's do it. Let's schedule it here. Let's schedule it. It was even one point where he said, I'm not ready for a counselor yet. So I printed out little activities for married couples, and I said, let's take these quizzes, or let's do this, or let's do that. He did some of it, and he was like, man, I'm not doing that anymore. So no, I definitely tried to do my part. It was more of he just didn't want to go because he didn't want to go. It wasn't that I was putting it all on him. I was trying to compromise and find different things. Like, one time we did an activity for married people, and it was actually really, really fun. And that was the only one that he did. And I had 3.
And then, like going back to what Nico said, why would she need individual counseling? Well, it was a lot of stuff that she also did in the marriage. I know we saying a lot of stuff about him, but it was a lot of stuff that she was doing that she also needed to be healed from. And before going to file so quickly, she could have took a little bit, because it was kind of like, no offense, we dragged the accountability out. You get what I'm saying? So in that moment, if you would have went and did your own individual counseling, maybe you would have been able to communicate a little bit better to him, because I mean, we talking about 20-some-year-old people, 23, 24.
I can address that. So now, 100% should have went to individual counseling. We should have went to individual counseling when we were having problems, and we should have went to marriage counseling. I do feel like when you're married, it's a thing where it's a we and it's not a me. But if you're not together, how can you show up for the we? So I do think that in a lot of situations, and I can say this because I've been married people need to go to individual counseling and marriage counseling, because marriage counseling is for the we. But sometimes you're broken as a me. Yep. So how can you show up broken in the we and you're not even successful for yourself? Like, y'all see what I'm saying? Like, that's how I feel about it now, and being divorced and seeing all the things that went wrong, because like you said, the accountability, I'm very, very, very big on accountability now. A lot of people that aren't where I am in the healing journey say that I take too much accountability for it, just because they know what the things that he did. But I don't feel like that. Like, where I am now, it was a lot of things that I did, even when it came to the open marriage and the cheating and stuff. Ultimately, I said, let's have an open marriage because I wanted to cheat too. Because I wanted to experience other things. I just used what he did as a green light. Because I felt like I couldn't do it because we had vows.
Right.
So now that the vows are broken, it was a free-for-all. We was young. That's honestly what it was. It was a lack of self-control.
So to make it clear, that was your idea, not his.
The open marriage was my idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But to make it clear, he won't stop cheating now. So we're going to make that clear too. We're going to make that clear too.
No. So just to circle back to the open marriage before we move on. So in your mind, when you said that you wanted to have an open marriage and y'all discussed this and it was okayed, in your mind, did you think that was going to help the marriage and y'all was going to stay together?
I love that you asked that question. That was on my notes that I don't have up. So honestly, because we were so young, I thought it was a phase because we were young. And if we get it out of our system, it didn't. I didn't think that my marriage was going to end from this. I really honestly thought that it was just a phase because we're both young and we want to experience other things. So after we experience other things, we're going to be fine. That's honestly what I thought in my head and my heart.
Okay, so to go back to what you said then, you said while you were doing it, he started calling you names and the respect dropped down to like a negative 50. Why didn't you stop? Why didn't you change if you saw that it was starting to affect your marriage in a negative way? Not what he was thinking or what he was still doing. Why didn't you stop?
At that point I was like, if I'm an H word, you H word too. I learned everything that I'm doing. I learned it from what you be doing. So
But you felt no remorse, even after seeing that.
I did feel remorse.
Oh, so you did?
No, and that's another reason why you should not have an open marriage, because even though it was okayed, I still had to sneak around and I still felt bad and it was still cheating. Like it wasn't comfortable. Like I was still doing it because at that point it's other reasons I was still doing it. But at that point I was just doing it. But it didn't, I'm not going to say like it felt good. Like it still felt like I was betraying that person. But then the other voice in my head would be like, girl, he be betraying you. You better go ahead. So, I'm telling you, like, it just,
So you were just out that hurt him. It was just tick for tack.
Yes, I can admit that now.
And you use the word sneaking. So obviously in your mindset then it was cheating to you, but you were saying an open marriage because you said I was sneaking around and doing this because if it was open you just would have been,
Yeah. And then we did have the terms of don't do anything in my face. So still we lived together and we was married, so still was kind of like I'm not gonna. And then also I didn't want to be like disrespectful in his face. Like, I don't want you to walk in and I'm on the phone with a dude. Like, I don't want to do that. I wouldn't do that to you. Like, I just didn't want to. I know it sounds like weird, but I just didn't want to do that. Like, it was more of us just pretending like we didn't know what was going on. That's exactly what it was. We would just pretend like we didn't know what the other person was doing.
Right.
Delusion. So yeah.
Delulu.
Yep.
Anybody else got a question on that? Crystal?
No.
Okay.
Well, one more question. So let's just clarify. Okay. Because everybody has like a different viewpoint on open marriage. Any point, threesome?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I think we had talked about it, but no, not in the marriage. Not in the marriage.
Not in the marriage.
It was like before we got married. It was like mentioned, but that was like never a thing for us. Like, you know how some dudes might ask for it? That wasn't him. Like, he didn't care about that. Like, so that wasn't anything.
He wanted one-on-one.
I guess. But
She did too.
It wasn't
both of y'all wanted one-on-one. Y'all didn't want it together.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like, let's do this together. Like, it wasn't that.
Right.
I don't know why it was. I don't know why it wasn't that. We just never did cross that bridge.
It's okay if y'all didn't.
Yeah.
No, I promise we didn't.
All right. So, ending the divorce. Before ending, did you guys have a closure conversation?
No. At that point, we were in like a super, super bad place, so we weren't even communicating. We were only switching children, so it was no communication. Only communication we had was, "Hey, I filed for divorce. Can you give me my half for $300? Okay, I'm gonna send you." I'm being for real, y'all. I'm being for real. Can you send me my half for $300? All right, I'm gonna send you your half. Sent me my half. That was it. Oh, you about to get the papers in a few days. Make sure you're there to get the papers. All right. Did you get the papers yet? He did kind of lie on that part. Like, he had told me he didn't get the papers, but he did. We got a court date this date. You come to court? Yeah, I'm coming to court. You come to court? Yeah, I'm coming to court. But then he was like, no, I'm not coming to court. So at that point, it was only talking about the kids and the divorce. And then also we have really, really young children. So a lot of our time was trying to figure out things for our young children.
Okay. Any questions on?
Well, I guess with everyone, do you need a closure conversation? Because I'm thinking about my exes, like, it just ended. We didn't have any closure conversations. I knew it was over. I didn't need it. So anyone else need a closure conversation?
I feel like if there are kids involved, you're going to need that closure. You know, like, hey, what we doing? What's the next move as far as the kids? But, and I guess if you have, like, properties, house, I mean, you know, something like that. But
if you're just dating.
True. In my past relationship, we got in an argument. I hung up the phone and never called again.
Okay, so because you don't have this closure conversation, does it leave space for doubling back?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
You better shut up before I throw this mic at you.
What? You can say I already talked to Chris about it. What you talking about?
I'm just saying.
I don't think so.
No, I didn't double back.
So you remember the conversation that I'm talking about to bring up? That whenever you broke up, you will always go back to, like, people you talked to before?
Yeah, I'm talking about when I'm finally done. Oh, the people. No. So my last, serious relationship before I met my husband. Get out there, y'all. We literally had a bad argument and I hung up the phone and I never contacted that man again. Like, that's where we were at. It was just so toxic. Like, I couldn't stand to see his name pop up on my phone. Once that happened, I didn't even double back to the other ex. Like, I'm done with both of you niggas. Like, that's where I was at. At that point, I didn't want to deal with nobody.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll say for me, yes and no. I feel like you could have the closure conversation. I feel like if there's not a closure conversation, just like I asked Crystal, it can leave space for doubling back. Like, we got to understand that we ain't gonna never work. You ain't gonna never be able to give me what I need, and I'm never gonna be able to do that. So I can see how it could be beneficial, and I can see how it is also not needed. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's just like, it is what it is. I don't need it, especially, huh? Do I answer now? Yeah, you can answer.
And I said, can I answer now because I did not have a closure conversation, and we double backed about a few times. So, a real, I'm gonna keep
after
it in.
the divorce.
After the papers were signed, I'm gonna keep it 100. Our closure conversation where things officially ended. And I have to keep it real for the people that, you know, because people don't talk about this when you get divorced. They just say, oh, you get divorced, you're never gonna. No, sometimes you do double back. So the last time where everything was closed, it was this will never work. Even if we wanted it to work, it'll never work, was December of 2023.
And when was the divorce?
May of 22. Might have been 21. No, 22. 22.
Damn.
And that's no shade. That's no shade. But that is real because I feel like when people get a divorce, they don't talk about how you dibble and dabble. And because I'm divorced, I've looked at certain resources for divorced people. You dibble and dabble. So I feel like a closure conversation is absolutely important.
Okay.
I would say, far as the closure conversation, like
if y'all gonna keep laughing, y'all need to tell them
That's
why y'all
only-
laughing. Because y'all ain't laughing at me.
No, we're not laughing at you.
All
Crystal
right.
is over here doing the most. Go ahead.
I would say only if you married. Like,
Okay.
If you married and y'all been together for a while, then yes. But like Brianna said earlier, if you just dating, then no, I don't think there's no need for it.
Or even living together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because you know you got to figure out, okay,
Mm-hmm.
who gonna
Right.
stay here, who moving out.
Yeah. Important stuff.
Yeah.
She just shook the table with that answer
It
to
really
the question.
wasn't a shake the table to the people.
It was a shake the table
It's
to
a
us
shake the
at
table
the
to
table.
y'all. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you finna shake the internet.
Yeah.
I have to keep it real. Like, people get divorced and they think that it's all over. No, them feelings still come up. You still miss that person. You still think, man, I want my family back. Let's try it. Let's figure this out. So that's what I went through.
So as today, your feelings are completely dead.
Yes.
And how do you know that?
Right. Because I mean, December 2023 was only
3 months ago. I feel like that because of a lot of inner work and healing, because I had to ask myself, why are you doubling back? And it was off of an emotion, because that person never changed who they was.
Right.
So it was off of, I just didn't like being by myself at this time, or I don't like continuing to be single, or I just don't want to keep being by myself. So I would go back and try again when I would get to a point where I was tired of being alone. So I had to do inner work of, well, why do you not want to be alone? And I had to discover things that didn't have anything to do with him. This was like things inside of me. So I can say that I'm completely over it now, just because of healing that I've done and work that I've done in myself to figure out, what is this thing of you trying to go back because you don't want to move forward, or because you don't want to sit here by yourself. Which now I've been sitting by myself for a while, but it would be points where I'm on month like 7 and I'm like, ain't nobody, it's just me. It's just me. And then I would like, well, maybe we could. And then that's how, or he would be like, we ain't gonna get to that, but yeah.
Yeah. Co-parenting. Moving forward. Has co-parenting been easy or hard after the divorce?
It depends on the season. It depends on the season. Mind you, this is a person that I also grew up with. So I know you as a person, like, so it just depends on, it really depends on the season. Sometimes it's easy, and then sometimes it's extremely hard. It depends on what's going on in my life, that person's life. So there's been times where it's been really, really difficult, and there's been times where it's been easy. For us, it's not difficult all the time. I think we co-parent very well. It's never a keep the kids away from you, keep the kids away from me. It's never been that with us. We set that from the beginning when we got separated. One thing we will never do is try to keep the kids from this parent or that parent. That's something that I absolutely do not believe in. So our co-parenting has most of the time been smooth, because we take ourselves out of it. The only time it was hard is when we had feelings for each other and we was trying to work it out, and then it didn't work out. But whenever it was not my feelings in it, not your feelings in it, co-parenting goes smooth.
Okay. What about for the kids? Do you feel like they transitioned well?
No. And that's one of the things I didn't do research on getting divorced, because I didn't think about how, not necessarily my youngest, because I don't think he really processes it. I didn't think about how my oldest baby would like really, really take it, because I was told kids are resilient, they'll bounce back. So I was like, he'll be okay, but he was not okay. So that was hard. And that's one of the things that made us dibble and dabble too, because he took it so hard. And I just felt like I was doing a disservice to him. And then it was a lot of things that happened to where he knew a lot. So he knew I walked away. So he was telling me how he doesn't like me and he hates me, and I'm the reason why we're not a family anymore. So sometimes I'm like, okay, well, one of the times I was like, okay, well, let's try to, do this. But he fine now, but It was not an easy transition.
So, Brianna, with thinking about co-parenting, is it important for kids to see parents interact with one another?
I say yes, but limited, and it depends on if it's a healthy interaction. Like, for example, my kids' birthday parties. If they have a birthday party, we're not doing they have 2 birthday parties. That's just something that we're not going to do to them. We can be at a birthday party. We can be at a graduation. We can be at a school function together. So those interactions, I think it's important for them to see that. But like I said, limited. Birthdays is once a year.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
All right. So would you say you would marry again?
I absolutely would marry again, because now that I'm older and I know myself more and I know God, I definitely would get married again, because now I know what marriage actually is. Back then I didn't know what marriage was. I really thought it was just two people being together. So it's like a regular relationship with a paper and a ring. So now I know it's absolutely way more intricate than that, and it's way more important than that. And so I would definitely get married again.
Okay.
Nice.
So what is a good time to start dating after a divorce?
That is tricky, because divorce can be a very lengthy process. So people could be getting divorced for 3 years, and then some people be having no contact orders. So it's been 3 years. I haven't talked to this person in 3 years. By the time it's final, if they're ready to date, I can't necessarily say they're wrong for being ready to date. So that's kind of how I feel about it. But for regular people that's just getting a regular divorce, I think that you definitely at least a year, because it takes a long time to heal from divorce. Like, that's a very big thing.
So not really a time frame, but a mental thing.
You need
your healing
you need a
process.
detox. You need a mental, physical. You need a detox.
Yeah, I like that. A detox. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Okay,
good.
so what would you say? Let's say you have a couple, right? They been through hell and back, and they're doing like a separation,
Yes.
right? But this separation has been years, and all of a sudden they're getting a divorce. Do you still feel like they still need time to figure things out, or because they've been separated for years? And I'm saying that because I know somebody who was legally married for 10 years, and they were only actually married, like living together, for like a few months.
I can't even say I want to say, because we know the folks that do that a lot. So yes, in that situation, most of the time they already be dating anyways. But I mean, I don't think that is wrong in that circumstance. So
Okay, so do you think it's wrong for a couple that's separated? They know they don't want to be together anymore. They just haven't filed for a divorce. Do you think it's wrong for them to start dating?
now I think it's wrong. When I was separated, I did not think it was wrong, but absolutely now I think it's wrong, because cheating is cheating. At the end of the day, you're still married. You still have a commitment. You still have vows. So anytime that you step out of that, or you go against that, it's still wrong. Even if I feel like it's not wrong or it shouldn't be wrong, at the end of the day, it's cut and dry. It's wrong.
Ooh. What y'all think?
I'm going to say, wait your year for your separation. I'm going to always say that. Anything can happen within that year. And just giving the example, she just gave us an example. Anything can happen within that year. Why would you want to put somebody else through that? Y'all going back and forth. You're not sure if it's done or not. No, just take your time.
So going through a separation, in your mind, you really feel like that person's going to change in a year?
I feel like anything can happen. Anything can happen in a year.
Okay, but knowing the person you're with, that's going to change in a year.
It's not about them, though. When the separation is supposed to be about you and your healing.
Right, but
so.
I mean, when you're saying separation, you mean getting back together? Or you just talking about separation for the divorce?
I'm saying separation for the divorce, but I will also say in that time frame, a person can start to take steps to work on getting their marriage back. Should you jump right? Oh, here it is. It's been 12 months to this day. Let's go back together. No, I still think it's a process, but I do think that everybody should take that year and see what they want to do. It's no rush. I feel like after being in a marriage, whether it was a 5-year marriage, 20-year marriage, why would you want to do that to yourself? You are emotionally damaged. You still have baggage. Don't put that on somebody else. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel like always after a relationship, I think you need time for yourself. You need to heal. You need to just be alone because you've been with someone for so long, or, you've been with someone. So I think always after a relationship, you need to be by yourself. And if you just jump in, it's kind of like you're giving them all that baggage, like you said, from that last relationship. So how's that relationship going to thrive?
Right. Right.
You're right.
Yeah.
But do you think it's wrong? Like, do you consider that cheating?
I would consider that cheating. To me, if we have said we're taking, because it's all about communication. Now, I know that sometimes that's the reason that you separating in the first place, because y'all can't communicate. But I feel like if that person, I'm going to say for me, I can't control what my spouse does in their separation. For me, I'm going to take that time to be alone. When you think about a marriage, even if you're just in a girlfriend boyfriend relationship, it's a lot of give, a lot of give of your time, a lot of give of your, mental space. Take that time to enjoy yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's why a lot of people jump from relationship to relationship, because they don't know how to spend time with themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. And that's why we have people getting into being married. No shade to anybody, but you getting married 3 and 4 times because you don't know yourself. You want somebody else to tell you who you are. That makes no sense. Mm-hmm. You need to be able to express who you are to the next person you get with.
Okay.
All right.
Do you feel like it's cheating if you're separated?
No.
Okay, why not?
Now, when I say the separation, I'm talking about, like, we know for sure, without a doubt, that we're getting a divorce. That separation, like how in North Carolina, you have to be separated for a year before actually filing for divorce or divorce getting finalized. So I feel like if you have a couple who knows for sure that this is it, like ain't no turning back. And I feel like, I don't know, 8 months down the line, if the man wants to date somebody else, even though the divorce is not finalized, but they're no longer together, if he wants to date somebody else, or if the woman wants to date somebody else, I don't look at it as cheating. Now, my thing is, if y'all on the separation to work on each other, to work back on the marriage, and you dating somebody else, then yeah.
So let me ask a question, because maybe I don't understand. How do you separate and know we're getting back together, versus this is the end? How do you know in that separation, like, okay, we're separating to get back together, or we're separating to call it quits? How do you know?
I feel like it depends on the marriage. Like, I feel like you got to look at it like this. We might be going through whatever in our marriages, right? It's people out there that's going through, like, the worst of the worst. Like, where it's like, no, y'all need... You get what I'm saying? In those marriages, I feel like, like, hey, ain't no... turning back. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not talking about, like, if we just fussing every other day, or, you sleeping in another room for a couple of nights. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about stuff where, behind closed doors, it gets real for some people.
The big issues. And because of the big issues, those, you need longer than a year. Because you need to figure out, why did I settle for this? Why did I go through this? This is about you at this point. You can know that you're not going to get back with that person. But if that person has been beating you, do you think that you're really ready to jump into another relationship?
In a year?
Because in a year.
I think everybody's different.
I feel like if you have went through that type of emotional and physical abuse in a year, you're just going to continue to attract the same thing until you figure out what in you allowed you to even get with that person in the first place.
I think it depends on the person. Everybody's different. It may take me 5 years to recover and heal. It may take somebody else a year.
So let me ask, because this is the big story that's going on right now, but when this aired, it may be different. If you were in a situation like Risa Tisa, how long do you think it would take you to heal from that type of situation where there's somebody that was lying to you about everything? Or do you even think you would want to get back into a relationship?
I wouldn't jump right back in a relationship, because for me, what I know about myself, like I said, everybody's different. I know how to be alone. So, like, my last relationship before I met Chris, I was single for 2.5 years. And it would have been longer than that if I hadn't met him. But, like I said, I don't really know for sure. I just know I wouldn't jump right back into a relationship.
Right.
But I will say this. I wouldn't have been a Risa Tisa.
Well, I will also say
because
this.
I know how to be alone. So I would even give Legion 2-3 red flags. In a few months, baby, first of all, I wouldn't have never married him. That's what I'm saying. Everybody is different. Like I said, It may take somebody a year. Because my thing is, in that year, somebody could be going to see a counselor or a therapist twice a week, every week for that whole year. Like, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's up to the person, I feel like.
I get what you're saying. But even I think when you're like divorced, I think it's more to even learning how to be alone, because I've been single for 2 years, so I haven't been in like a serious relationship since I've gotten a divorce. Mm-hmm. So I know how to be alone, but sometimes, and this is something that I kind of understood what Risa Tisa said, I didn't watch all of it. When you're single for a while, you could be in year 2.5 and you like, Lord, it's been a while. Like, I know how to be alone, but at this point, the loneliness hits you. So when the loneliness hits you, sometimes you start to, okay, like, I'm going to settle for something else. So it may not even be that you don't know how to be alone. You're tired of being alone, because being alone is hard.
Yeah, for some people.
Yeah, for some people. I know it's hard. It's hard for me, but as I grow up, it gets a lot easier, because I don't want nobody in my space to swallow my peace.
And I will say this too: being alone, as being a single person, never been married, we don't know what it's like to be alone after a divorce. We only know how it feels to be alone after we break up with somebody, because we was never living with them. We didn't have nothing invested with, you know what I'm saying? So it's going to be different for us saying now I know how to be alone, mm-hmm. because we haven't experienced being alone after a divorce. It's going to be different.
I think it's going to be different, but mm-hmm. I still feel like it depends on the person, because mm-hmm. everybody's different.
And I just like, and I feel like you are this type of person too. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool mm-hmm. me twice, then it's on me. So I feel like that. So with that being said, if I would go into a relationship quick, because I'm going to say anything before a year is quick, I'm going to have so many walls up, so many boundaries set, that person ain't going to be able to experience who I am. Because I know how I am. I've already went through this. You will never do me like that again. So it's going to take time for me to really heal from something. Even if it may be a good person, and if it's a good man and I see him and he's interested in me, mm-hmm. I feel like if he really wants me, he's going to wait and he's going to give me the time that I need. But I'm not going to jump into anything before a year. Anything. For me.
Okay.
Well, what if the Lord sends somebody in that year? I mean, because you don't never know what he might send your way.
But I also know that if the Lord sends something, and God is not a God of confusion. So he's not going to send somebody to me while I'm already married to somebody else. He's going to wait until I'm divorced.
That's true. God honors marriage. It's in the Bible. He honors marriage.
That's just how I feel about that. Okay. Chris?
Man, y'all got this one. Y'all got this one.
I mean, because you see some people move on a little bit faster than others. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I look at it like this: who are we to say if somebody is healed or ready? Like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even sometimes I find myself thinking like, ooh, they moving a little fast, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know if they really, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, we can't determine that.
Right. It's up to the person. But, I mean.
Yeah, it is up to the person. It definitely is up to that person.
Okay, so what do you think about two people, married couple, right? Mm-hmm. And they just know it's not going to work. Basically, common ground, mutual agreement. No ill feelings, and they know it's not going to work. Mm-hmm. Then what?
So to me, that sounds like two healed people. They were mature enough to have a conversation, and we know that this isn't going to work. So I feel like at that point, because I'm going to tell you, if I'm in a situation and I'm coming out of a divorce, I'm not going to be ready to talk about that. So if these people are already in a place where we can talk about it, they're at a common, like, they're mutual, hey, this just didn't work. That sounds like two healed people, and go on about your journey. Okay. Do what you need to do. Brianna, did you have something you wanted to add to that?
So I think it depends on the person, but I can get what Brianna is saying about feeling alone, especially like if something were to happen, like being with your husband so much, you have you do everything with them, and then all of a sudden that's gone. So I could understand the loneliness of it and kind of maybe jumping into something because you just don't want that feeling. So I could understand why people move quickly, but I know for myself, I would need time to heal.
Yeah. All right. So, Brianna, is there anything else you would like to kind of get off your chest?
Yes. One thing that I feel like is big is like, we have a lot of conversations about divorce and things like that. But another important conversation that we need to have as people and as a community is about who you are marrying and if you are actually ready to get married, because there's a lot of people that come into a marriage with single people problems. So mature people need to be the ones that are getting married, meaning that you have worked on yourself. You have spent time alone. You know what you like. You know what you don't like. You have healed from things in your childhood, because a lot of us have childhood traumas and we take that into our marriages. So you're taking a single problem into a marriage. So I just feel like the conversation needs to be more proactive instead of reactive. Let's talk about who we are marrying. Let's stop and think about why we're getting married. Do we know what marriage is? So that's what I have to say. And also, married people, because I've been married before. Divorce is not a joke. Divorce is something that is really, really big. It is a tragedy. People don't talk about the bad parts of it. You think that once you get a divorce, you're just going to be free. You could do what you want to do. But then you find yourself in a place like me where you have the same feelings and the same problems that you had when you were married. You now have them when you're single. So don't take divorce lightly. Work on yourself. And I'm not saying work on yourself separately. I'm saying the best way to show up in your marriage is to make sure you're showing up for yourself. So do the work that you need to do. Take your accountability, my bad, y'all, and heal before you get into a marriage, and might be before you get out of a marriage. So in that separation period, just everybody needs to heal.
Nice.
That's good.
Cool.
Yeah. And y'all follow me on social media, beautiful.bee. Also follow me on YouTube, beautiful BEE again. I go into detail about my testimony and also my testimony of being saved by Jesus Christ. So y'all come check me out.
Praise God.
So the bunch just want to take the opportunity to thank Brianna for coming, sharing her story, sharing her truth. And so we want to thank you so much for coming. So the bunch, give her a hand.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
All right, y'all. So drop those comments down below. Is there a right age to get married? And follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, all of that. And remember, the wedding is only the beginning.